Genghis Khan and his family and
Oh,
what
cool.
they did. Dude, they killed 10% of the population of Earth while he was alive. They killed so much.
The tomb contains strange and unsettling artifacts that challenge everything we thought we knew about one of history's most feared and powerful leaders. Genghis Khan and his family were notorious for their brutality, responsible for the deaths of nearly 10% of the world's population during his lifetime. Their conquests were so devastating that they left a measurable impact on Earth's carbon footprint. Something extraordinary has emerged from the dust of the Mongolian steppe, an archaeological discovery so astonishing it could forever reshape our understanding of not only the man himself, but the very history we thought we knew. Scientists believe they have uncovered the long-lost tomb of Genghis Khan, a revelation that could answer questions that have haunted generations and ignite entirely new ones. Inside this ancient tomb lie objects that are as mysterious as they are chilling, offering clues not only about Khan's life and death, but about a time of unimaginable brutality and ambition. Genghis Khan and his family were infamous for the sheer scale of destruction they wrought across continents. His conquests claimed the lives of nearly 10% of the Earth's population during his time. It is said that the scale of death was so vast that it even left a noticeable impact on the planet's carbon emissions. But more than just a tale of conquest and terror, the tomb may reveal hidden truths about the spiritual beliefs, fears, and secrets of one of the most feared leaders in human history. For decades, stories have swirled about the legendary measures taken to conceal the tomb. Some accounts claim that Genghis Khan, in an effort to ensure his eternal peace, ordered that his tomb be hidden so thoroughly that even those who built it would never speak of its location because they would be put to death. According to some legends, entire forests were trampled by horses to erase the trace of any path leading to the burial site, and rivers were deliberately redirected to flow over the tomb, hiding it beneath nature itself. Whether these were stories meant to elevate Khan's myth or accounts based on truth, they only deepen the fascination and mystery surrounding his final resting place. The question has always remained, where is Genghis Khan buried, and why has it remained hidden for so long? While some scholars dismiss the darker legends as romanticized folklore, others argue that the secrecy was likely driven by the very real fear of looting, desecration, and revenge. After all, Khan had made countless enemies during his reign. His scorched earth tactics, the annihilation of entire cities, and the terror he used as a psychological weapon had built a reputation so terrifying that many sought to destroy even his memory. For those vanquished by his armies, desecrating his tomb would have been the ultimate act of revenge, a symbolic destruction of his power and legacy. Historians acknowledge that secrecy around burial sites was not uncommon in Mongol culture. It was a way of protecting the dead from spiritual disruption and physical disturbance. It was believed that the spirits of great leaders should rest undisturbed, and exposing their graves could unleash curses or misfortune. In Mongolia, Genghis Khan is more than a historical figure. He is a cultural icon, a national hero, and even a semi-sacred being in some interpretations. To disturb his tomb is to defy deep-seated cultural values, to poke at something sacred and forbidden. This cultural reverence has presented a profound dilemma for modern archaeologists. How does one balance the pursuit of knowledge with the duty to respect cultural taboos? The potential discovery of his tomb isn't just a matter of digging up artifacts, it's a matter of opening a gateway to Mongolia's spiritual heart. Many Mongolians fear that uncovering the tomb could lead to widespread calamity, natural disasters, political upheaval, or national disgrace. This fear is not just superstition to them, it is an ingrained cultural warning passed down through generations. So, for centuries, this belief created a powerful cultural blockade, discouraging exploration and transforming Genghis Khan's tomb into a symbol of sacred mystery. Despite these barriers, the allure of solving the riddle proved irresistible. Over the years, historians, adventurers, and archaeologists undertook daring quests to find the tomb, using everything from ancient maps to local legends. Satellite technology, aerial surveys, and ground-penetrating radar were deployed in the hopes of unlocking the past. Even the behavior of animals was studied in case it offered clues to something buried deep beneath the surface. These investigations, while often unsuccessful, painted a clearer picture of where the tomb might lie. But the secrecy and superstition surrounding the site always loomed large. At the center of many legends was a remote mountain called Burkan Kaldon, a place revered in Mongolian tradition and mentioned in ancient texts. This sacred peak, nestled in the northeastern regions of the country, has long been considered a spiritual guardian of the Mongol nation. Local lore held that this mountain might conceal the tomb, but fear and respect for Genghis Khan's memory made any real exploration feel almost sacrilegious. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, came a discovery that stunned the world. A team of 4 archaeologists, initially on a mission to study ancient climate patterns through soil samples, made an unexpected find. They had journeyed into the wilderness not in search of legends, but to understand the environmental history of the Mongolian plains. As they meticulously analyzed sediment layers near Burkhan Khaldun, they stumbled upon anomalies, strange readings, unusual formations, and fragments that defied explanation. This accidental detour turned into one of the most significant archaeological developments in modern history. Among the findings were inscriptions bearing strong resemblance to ancient Mongol script, markings that hadn't been seen in this region before and which directly pointed to the presence of a royal burial. This discovery was not vague or theoretical, it was concrete, supported by scientific data and historical corroboration. And suddenly, what had always been whispered in myths was now shouted through evidence. The implications of this revelation are profound. As news spread globally, scholars, scientists, and history enthusiasts held their breath, waiting to learn more. What lay inside the tomb? Could it truly be the final resting place of Genghis Khan? And if so, what relics, remains, or secrets would be uncovered? Yet excitement quickly gave way to deeper, more complex emotions. The Mongolian government became immediately involved, recognizing that this was not just an academic discovery. It was a national issue. The excavation of a site believed to hold the bones of their greatest leader was not to be taken lightly. Media outlets from around the world swarmed to the story, generating international fascination and local tension. Ethical questions surfaced. Should the tomb be opened at all? Who has the right to explore or even touch what lies within? What if opening the tomb unleashes cultural or even spiritual consequences the world is not prepared for? As the excavation team moved forward with care, they were joined by a host of other experts. Historians combed through ancient chronicles to find new context. Anthropologists offered cultural guidance, and scientists continued their analysis with even greater precision. This multidisciplinary approach added depth to the findings, painting a picture of a site not merely of death but of immense historical and symbolic value. Every detail mattered: the architecture of the chamber, the materials used in construction, the arrangement of artifacts, all of it whispered secrets from the past. Yet an eerie stillness permeated the air. There was no grand celebration, no unrestrained thrill, just a quiet, reverent energy. It was as though the team knew they were not merely uncovering bones and dust but unlocking a story sealed by time and protected by centuries of cultural guardianship. This wasn't just about finding a tomb, it was about confronting the truth behind a man who changed the world with violence and vision. Genghis Khan built the largest contiguous empire in history, uniting warring tribes and reshaping civilizations through ruthless force and unmatched strategy. His methods were brutal yet effective. For some, he was a monster; for others, a genius. What this tomb may reveal could alter the lens through which we see him forever. The artifacts recovered, rumored to include weapons, ceremonial objects, ancient scrolls, and even evidence of early biological warfare, might confirm or challenge long-held beliefs. They may reveal his thoughts on death, the afterlife, leadership, or fear. They may tell us more about the empire he built, the people who followed him, and the enemies who feared him. For Mongolia, this moment is both a celebration and a challenge. On one hand, it provides a chance to proudly display the depth of their cultural heritage on the world stage. On the other, it forces them to navigate the tension between tradition and modernity. How do they honor their ancestor while allowing the world to study his legacy? How do they protect the sanctity of the tomb while feeding a global hunger for knowledge? For the rest of the world, the discovery is equally complicated. It requires us to re-evaluate how history is told and who gets to tell it. It reminds us that the past is not a fixed story but a living mystery, one that shifts and deepens with every new piece of evidence. This extraordinary find pierces through the fog of mythology and invites us into a more nuanced, raw, and perhaps uncomfortable conversation about power, mortality, and remembrance. It unearths truths that are exhilarating in their clarity and unsettling in their implications. And in doing so, it proves once again that history is never truly buried. Just when the world was ready to accept that the tomb of Genghis Khan would remain forever lost, this team of researchers, armed not with swords and fire, but with scanners and shovels, broke through the silence of centuries. They have shown us that the past still has secrets, and those secrets still have power. What lies within the ancient stone walls of the tomb may well change how we view one of the most controversial figures in human history. And as the dust settles and scholars begin to decode the legacy left behind, one thing is clear: this discovery doesn't just add a chapter to our history books, it rewrites them. The closer archaeologists and researchers get to fully unveiling the secrets of the tomb, the more questions begin to emerge, questions that reach far beyond the man known as Genghis Khan. The discovery of Genghis Khan's tomb and the relics within have sparked a profound shift in our understanding of both history and the deep cultural connections between the Mongol Empire and the world. The artifacts recovered from the tomb are not just material objects, they are threads that weave together a tapestry of belief, power, ambition, and legacy. They reveal aspects of Genghis Khan's personality and vision that history books have often overlooked or misunderstood. Some of these artifacts appear to contradict everything that scholars have assumed about the Mongol leader, offering glimpses into a more complex and perhaps more human side of the man who forged an empire through ruthless military strategy and brutal conquest. Among the most intriguing finds are what appear to be personal items that belong to Genghis Khan himself. These artifacts, ranging from simple items of daily use to the more opulent and ceremonial, shed light on the leader's personal life. Items such as intricately crafted rings, delicate but powerful-looking weapons, and scrolls containing wisdom and strategies could give modern scholars access to Genghis Khan's thoughts on leadership, warfare, and governance. More than that, they offer tantalizing glimpses into his character, his fears, his hopes, and perhaps even the more spiritual elements of his reign. It's one thing to read about a ruler's military exploits, but quite another to peer into the thoughts of a man who governed through sheer force of will. What does it mean to hold a weapon that was once wielded by a man whose name still echoes throughout the world? What insights might be found in the items he carried with him, the writings he left behind, or the tools that shaped his daily life? In the tomb, archaeologists also found objects that seem to have been carefully placed, almost like offerings or signs of respect to the departed leader. These items appear to include rare foreign artifacts that Genghis Khan's empire acquired from distant lands. This reveals something previously overlooked: Genghis Khan was not just a conqueror, but a visionary who sought to bring the world together. While his reputation has largely focused on his violent campaigns and military brilliance, it seems that his broader goal was one of global unity and cultural exchange. The presence of items from places as far away as Europe, the Middle East, and China suggests that Genghis Khan was not solely interested in domination, but in building a vast empire that was a crossroads of cultures, a melting pot where ideas, goods, and technologies could be exchanged freely. One such artifact, a jade carving from China, is particularly striking. Not only does it indicate the depth of trade and interaction that took place within the Mongol Empire, but it also raises new questions about Genghis Khan's relationship with the cultures he encountered. Was he simply a ruthless conqueror, or did he also appreciate the art, wisdom, and knowledge that flourished in the societies he absorbed? The jade carving, along with other objects from distant lands, hints at a more sophisticated cultural engagement than many have given him credit for. Rather than simply obliterating the civilizations he encountered, Genghis Khan may have absorbed elements from them, incorporating them into his own vision for the world. And for all, this is no longer just an archaeological dig, it is a reckoning. A reckoning with the power of narrative, the fragility of historical memory, and the uncomfortable truth that even the most mythic of figures were shaped by contradictions, compromise, and conviction. The tomb of Genghis Khan is transforming from a burial site into a mirror, one that reflects not only the ambitions of a singular man, but also our own hunger to define the past in ways that serve the present. In that mirror, we see a leader who was at once a destroyer and a builder, a tactician and a philosopher, a monster and a myth. As relics continue to emerge from beneath layers of centuries-old earth, each one more astonishing, more complex, more human, the world is forced to grapple with a profound paradox, that the man who brought so much death may have also envisioned a kind of order, the unity shaped not just by the sword, but by thought, law, and belief. Perhaps the most haunting legacy of this discovery lies not in the objects themselves, but in the questions they raise. What does it mean to rule absolutely? Can cruelty be justified by vision? Was Genghis Khan a product of his time, or a force that forever changed the nature of time itself? These are not just academic inquiries. They are moral ones. And they echo far beyond the steppes of Mongolia, reverberating through modern discussions of power, empire, and the ethics of legacy. In the coming months and years, as the global academic community continues its careful study and respectful debate, the world will watch with awe and apprehension. Because this is not just the opening of a tomb. It is the reopening of a dialogue with the past, one that may forever alter the way we see conquest, culture, and the cost of greatness. One thing is certain, Genghis Khan's final resting place has not offered finality at all. Instead, it has brought forth a renaissance of inquiry, an awakening of memory, and a whisper from the ancient world that demands to be heard. What lies beneath may have once been meant for silence, but now, it speaks, and the world must listen.